Hello, in today's video we're going to be looking at Reveille for Hyland OnBase, commonly known as OnBase. Reveille is the leading operational management and performance software for OnBase. I will provide an overview of the Reveille solution for OnBase. I will discuss the architecture options when deploying Reveille, and will then provide a Reveille for OnBase demonstration. So what does Reveille provide for OnBase? Reveille is an operational management and performance monitoring application for OnBase systems and applications. Beyond traditional on-premise or cloud-based APM and C monitoring, Reveille provides deep visibility and understanding of OnBase environments. Reveille complements your existing monitoring by filling your content management and monitoring visibility gap. This increases the value of your existing monitoring tool investments. Reveille builds upon decades of skill and experience from working and operating complex OnBase environments. It is easy to maintain and quick to deploy without agents on the OnBase systems it monitors and without changing the target systems. It provides out-of-the-box visualization tools and metrics for managing OnBase, allows organizations to understand how OnBase systems are performing and being used. It complements your existing on-premises or cloud-based APM and C monitoring and trouble ticketing systems. It allows the organization to be proactive when issues are encountered. Issues are flagged, and where appropriate, actions can be automatically carried out to resolve issues and remove bottlenecks in OnBase processes. Reveille can also help reduce the time and risk during the migration of existing on-premises OnBase systems into the cloud. Reveille can then actively manage the operating health of cloud OnBase systems. So how does Reveille work? If we look to the bottom right corner of this wheel, we can see there are multiple sources that Reveille can gather information from. Content management systems, aka ECM, from vendors such as Hyland, OpenText, Kofax, Box, IBM, Microsoft, etc. Reveille manages and monitors these systems by collecting information from them, checking how the systems are performing and being used. This also includes gathering information about end-user transaction performance, activity, and user behavior. Reveille ensures that everything is running in the way the organization would expect. We can analyze the data being gathered into Reveille and look at usage and performance trends. This data can then be compared to thresholds the organization deems acceptable. We can define acceptable baselines. We can visualize this data using Reveille dashboards. And if required, when problems are encountered, we can act on those, providing workarounds or resolutions, automatically or on demand, reducing the manpower required to support these complex content management platforms. Reveille has a simple architecture. It is made up of two components, Reveille Platform and Reveille User Analytics. In conjunction, these two Reveille components allow us to monitor the complete enterprise content management and capture environment. Not just the content management environment specifics, but also the elements that support this, such as databases, application servers, index servers, ingestion areas, etc. Reveille has virtually no effect upon the performance of the enterprise content management environment. It can be turned on and off and have no impact. This is not similar to turning on a vendor's logging capability. Reveille can be deployed on premises, in the cloud, or in a hybrid approach. Reveille can then monitor content management systems both on premises and in the cloud. So let us look at the Reveille product to get a better understanding of how it works. Typically, the first interaction with Reveille is notification. This could be a post in Microsoft Teams, email notification, or by passing an alert onto a trouble ticketing system. For example, it could be via Microsoft Teams, Office 365 email, Slack, Splunk, or any application that can receive a message via a published API, SNMP, or other defined protocol interface. The key is receiving a notification when, or even before, something significant happens. The organization defines what is significant, so we do not send multiple notifications that are not required. We see timely flags when something is happening on the system that is of interest. Once we have reviewed our notification, we open the Reveille User Console. This is where we investigate any issues that Reveille has encountered. The first screen we can see is the Reveille system status. This tells us what is running within Reveille and what is being monitored, who has been notified of any issues, etc. We next drill down into the Reveille system. This is where we can start to get a view of not only our OnBase system, but our whole content management environment. It shows all the elements that are being managed and monitored within Reveille. You can see I've structured my Reveille environment based on product. We are monitoring content management, capture, archive, and collaboration systems. Typically in a production environment, we would likely not structure our monitoring by product. Monitors are usually structured by server, functional area, business area, etc. This is defined by the organization's requirements and who is managing the environment. For example, somebody from security may want to see how the system is being used, so they would only look at a certain set of monitors, checking for unusual content access. Alternatively, an IT admin may want to see how all content management servers are running and look at user performance. Access to monitors within Reveille can be dependent on an individual's role. We can also group these monitors in different ways. We might group by location or department. So again, this gives us flexibility in structuring Reveille in the way that best meets the organization's requirements. If we go back to our monitors, the next thing we can see is that the monitors are different colors. The color represents the severity status of the monitor. The orange monitors have a warning, the red monitor has a severity 1 issue, the green monitors have no issue. We can filter on status and only look at monitors with issues or warnings. We can also filter by name. So for example, look for monitors based in New York. This allows us to quickly access the monitors of interest and go directly to the area we need to manage. Next I will open up an OnBase monitor and drill down to the next level of detail. The boxes you can see within the monitor diagram are called Reveille Resources. Resources allow us to structure the monitor based on the organization's system and requirements. You can see we've structured this based on different areas of content management functionality. So again, we can see Reveille's flexibility and its ability to allow the organization to manage its environment in a way that makes sense to them. Across the top of the monitor, you can see different tabs allowing us to access monitor-related data. Status allows us to look at the monitor resources in more detail. We can also open those resources to view the tests within them and the status of each test. We can look at captured issues via the log, test response times, the number of incidents we've encountered and how many have been resolved. We can see who's been notified of issues, and we can view metrics. We can view out-of-the-box OnBase disk groups, processing and operating metrics. There are over 50 plus metrics available. As the test runs against the enterprise content management environment, we can gather data. This data is held within a Reveille metric. Multiple metrics over time allow us to produce trending analysis. We do this because it provides us with an historic view of how the system is being used and how it is performing over a period. We can look at this data and assess what's acceptable performance and usage, and define a baseline which we can evaluate against. If an evaluation fails, we can then flag it and raise a notification via one of the channels we discussed earlier. Reveille also gathers what we call user analytics data. If we open a Reveille dashboard, we can see this data. User analytics data covers what end users are doing within the system and how the system is performing for them. When a user interacts with the system via a web-based interface such as Web Client or Unity API custom app, Reveille looks for the packets at the start and the end of a transaction. When Reveille sees these transactions going across the network, it extracts the relevant data and creates a transaction within Reveille. Reveille works in parallel with only OnBase network traffic. It does not intercept it, so it has no effect on the performance of network traffic. It provides OnBase transaction visibility with context. You can see the type of OnBase business transactions available could be anything from a search, logging in, logging out, deleting a document, exporting a document, etc. Typically, with each transaction, Reveille gathers when the transaction took place, whom carried out the transaction, what the transaction was, the duration of the transaction, the server and client IP addresses and ports, the repository the user was connecting to, and any related transaction properties or custom fields associated with that particular transaction. So for example, with a search transaction, the custom fields could potentially hold the search criteria. On a view document, they can contain the document name and document size. With this unique capability, transaction performance is no longer subjective. Reveille can gather the true nature of the transaction. Also, all the above fields can be sorted upon. It is a combination of this transactional data and metric data that allows Reveille to provide insight into how the system has been used and how it is performing, and whether it is working correctly for end users. Dashboards allow us to visualize this data. Here you can see different types of user activity. When users log in and out of a specific repository, the number of transactions completed, how many documents were checked in, checked out, etc. To do this without Reveille is difficult. You may have to turn on content management system features such as low-level interface tracing, additional database or file logging, or try divergent log correlation approaches, and that can have an adverse effect on the system performance. This dashboard is focused on OnBase performance. Performance monitoring can be dependent on the type of system we are monitoring. For example, when we monitor an OnBase environment, we may be interested in session counts, query times, user counts, rendition queues, transformation processing, etc. In a capture environment, we could be interested in batch counts, task queues, batch exceptions, license counts, batch aging counts. We may also be interested in CPU usage, memory usage, the amount of disk space remaining, thread counts, etc. across all the systems we are monitoring. Here we're looking at transactional data from a user behavior point of view. We're looking at how many documents a user has exported. We can also see it has been evaluated. If more than 30 documents are exported, Reveille will flag this as it may be a security issue. This requirement is from a customer. They wanted to know if anyone was exporting a lot of content overnight. So the customer scheduled the evaluation to start at 7 p.m. and finish the following day at 8 a.m. So they could see if anyone came in overnight to download a lot of content. If they did, security would be notified, and if required, the user could be automatically disabled. Reveille provided insight and control they never had before. Also, if we scroll down, we can see the data presented in different ways. For example, the same user, but with a different IP address. What this is saying is that if one user ID is logged into multiple locations at the same time, it might be that the user ID has been compromised and we need to disable it. Dashboards are very helpful, but we may also want to produce static reports on this data. These dashboards can be manually or automatically produced and sent out on a scheduled basis, or you can publish direct links to the Reveille dashboards to access them directly from a URL or as a widget in a performance management portal. If I go to Reports and click on Applications, I can produce a report to tell me what a specific user has been doing on the system. I filter the report for a certain time frame and what the user has been doing on the system. Reveille also provides performance reports. Here we are looking at a customer experience report that shows how the system is performing for end users. Here we have a monthly system availability report showing any downtime there has been. An SLA report shows whether the OnBase system is meeting the required service level requirements. Reveille has a REST-based API providing access to Reveille data from other common applications. It also provides trusted data connector with visualization and analytics tools such as Microsoft Power BI. This allows you to create your own dashboards and reports using Reveille data with other organization data sources. We have looked at how Reveille can identify and notify when issues occur, and then provide the information required to investigate these issues. Reveille allows the organization to look at how the system is being used, how it is performing, and drill down into the information via dashboards and reports. So how do we set up Reveille to allow us to do all of this? The Reveille Administration console is where we carry out most of our configuration. If we open the monitor we were looking at previously, we can see the monitor structure. We can see the resources it contains, and if we open up one of the resources we can see the tests within it. You can see by the nature of the test that we focus our monitoring capability at the content management product's application structure. This functionality comes out of the box. It is simple to create a monitor within Reveille. We can create monitors via templates. If we right-click on an OnBase template and select Create via Template, we generate a monitor. We then define the parameters for this monitor, ensuring it is monitoring the correct OnBase system. Once we've created the monitor, we might want to add additional tests to it. Reveille also provides wizards that enable the definition of new tests for the supporting technology portion of business-critical content management-based processes, such as the servers, application servers, databases, log files, event logs, application interfaces, etc. What Reveille is enabling is the ability to manage and monitor all elements that support the enterprise content management environment. Creating a test via wizard is a simple process. I select the product and category I want, I select the test and the configuration details, I click Create, and can now see the test we have created. Open the configuration details for the test, and we see the metric associated with it. If we open the metric, we can see how it is managed and evaluated via the Metrics Manager. We can see there are many different types of evaluation we can carry out. There is also an option for schedule. This allows us to define exactly when we are going to run this evaluation. Schedules can be applied to monitors, resources, tests, and evaluations. I mentioned earlier that Reveille monitors can be created via templates. Reveille enables this with parameters. Parameterization allows us to remove values from a monitor that may change and replace them with parameters. This allows us to create a new set of parameters for each new monitor and point them at the correct location. This really speeds up monitor creation time and management. I can now copy a monitor and just create a new set of parameters for the monitor and point them at the correct location. With other solutions, you must rebuild your production monitor from scratch. Reveille's focus is on ease of deployment. If you want to extend Reveille to look at different areas, it's simple to do so. Once we're happy with the monitor, we can start it. Monitors can run at different intervals as required. We can define when notifications are delivered, and as I mentioned earlier, we can schedule a monitor. In this instance, we want to run the monitor now, so I select the monitor, and I click on the Start Monitor exclamation mark. This starts the monitor now, and we can see this happening. If Reveille encounters an issue, it will notify the required people via the most appropriate channel, but we also might want to do something about the issue, and this is where we can use a Reveille proactive action. We can configure Reveille to carry out a proactive action when it encounters a specific issue. This could be automatic or can require confirmation. Reveille can carry out many different actions. As you can see, we have many out-of-the-box actions. They range from starting common OnBase services and processes to actions for AWS or Azure public clouds. Reveille can also run PowerShell scripts. This capability allows Reveille to carry out any action that can be completed via a PowerShell script, providing great flexibility. The ability to carry out an action to resolve and provide a workaround to an issue ensures the organization reduces to a minimum the impact issues have on end users and allows the content management administrators to reduce their administration time. If this was our test environment, we might want to take the completed monitor, export it from here, and import it into our production environment. To do that, we go to File, Import Export Wizard, Export to File. We can then simply go into our production environment and import the monitor. Management also needs to review what is happening with the content management system, and with Reveille there are also several ways they can do this. Reveille is device aware and uses responsive web design techniques, so if a manager accesses the user console via a tablet or mobile device, it is aware of the device they are using and presents the screen appropriately. Management can also go directly to a monitor or dashboard view. These show the relevant monitors and dashboards without having to go through the user console. It provides them with quick, simple access. This view could also be placed on a monitor in an organization's office, so all users can see how the system is running. So again, dependent on your role within the organization, Reveille presents you with the relevant information in the most appropriate manner. In summary, what does Reveille offer? It provides out-of-the-box operational management and monitoring for OnBase, capture, collaboration, and archive systems. It is simple to deploy with tools that allow you to quickly generate monitors and tests appropriate to your environment. It is simple to maintain, requiring no changes to the OnBase system environment that it manages and monitors. It complements your cloud, APM, and SIEM general purpose monitoring, incident management, and notification systems. It enables proactive enterprise content management versus reactionary fire drills. It tells you when issues are occurring and allows you to do something about them, reducing the impact on end users. Reveille provides a single panel of glass into multiple content management platforms you may want to monitor. Reveille can also help reduce the time and risk during migration of existing on-premises OnBase systems into the cloud. Reveille can then actively manage the cloud-based OnBase systems. Thank you for your time. Hopefully you found it useful. Please contact us using the details on the screen to explore Reveille further.